What up, everybody? We are back yet again with a new campaign trail, and we're doing 2024, the big one. Oh, here we go. To sum up 2024, Donald Trump is angry. He's furious. The American people are angry. They are furious. They are getting pinched financially. The cost of living is going up. And when the cost of living is going up, and when you feel your wallet getting pinched, you're going to blame the incumbent president. And Trump knows that. He's going to run a campaign based around anger. He's going to fire up his base, and that's how he's going to win this election. It's a win. It's a pretty solid win. And Biden is the incumbent president. And the Biden economy, on paper, is a pretty good economy. Unemployment is down. The stock market is looking pretty good. Things are relatively stable. However, the American people are not reaping the benefits of this economy. The cost of living is going up. Real estate is going up. Food prices are going up. Inflation was out of control for most of Biden's presidency. And people are solely blaming him. Now, to be fair to him, in 2024, inflation was going down, the price of gas was going down, but that's just not going to be enough. And also we have to discuss, Biden's age. He's a feeble old man. And even in 2019, we were having this discussion. He's too old. He's over the hill. This guy's an absolute disaster. Now, he wins in 2020. But it was pretty clear as soon as he became inaugurated that, hey, this guy has good days and bad days, and the Democratic Party is trying to keep him away from the cameras because it's just not a good look. So then, here comes 2024. And Biden initially said he was going to only be a one-term president, but he's like, hey, I'm going to go for the two-term. And they have a debate. And oh man, that debate was an absolute mega disaster for Biden. Now, although he was able to answer the questions, he was raspy, he was slow, he was feeble, and it was just a terrible look. The Democratic establishment goes back, and they're just like, oh my God, if we keep this guy in, we're going to get absolutely pummeled. Here comes Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is well known, but the problem is that no one really knows much about her. And she's a pretty bad campaigner. Kamala Harris's version of campaigning is basically going The View and nothing else. And when she does have a rally, it's with Liz Cheney. And Liz Cheney is reviled not only on the left, but on the right as well. Pretty much, I would say, the most unpopular politician in America at the time. So it's really not a good look, and it really, really demotivates your base to come out for you. When you're, campaigning with a neocon, it's hard to really take you seriously. And then, of course, there's the anti-war stance. Trump cemented himself as the anti-war candidate, and Harris is kind of just floundering. With the Israel conflict, Trump is firmly in the Israel camp, where the Democratic Party is kind of tepidly in the Israel camp. So minority voters typically go for Democrats. However, the Muslim minority is kind of just like, we don't exactly want to go for this because Biden's stance on Israel just doesn't align with theirs. As well, Harris couldn't differentiate herself from Biden. There's the infamous quote, oh, I wouldn't really do anything different than Joe Biden. And I think that really cost her the election. She wasn't able to motivate the base to come out. And the results are kind of an anomaly in American history where Harris just couldn't make any gains. She was down in every single state compared to Biden. Even when we look at elections like 1972 and 1984, there were some gains made and some counties flipped. Harris couldn't do any of that. But we're going to change that today. Hell yeah. A rocky 4 years under President Biden have accumulated in the renomination of Donald Trump, followed by the earth-shattering withdrawal of Joe Biden from the race. Donald Trump, fresh off of 34 felony convictions, only seems to trail Harris very narrowly. Can he keep his momentum going all the way through Election Day? Is the momentum even real? Kamala Harris assumed the Democratic nomination with the strong support of President Biden. She enters the general election rested and ready, riding a surge of enthusiasm and record fundraising. Yeah, so Biden drops out, Harris is in, they don't have a primary. There was other, they could have had someone else in there. There's other good Democratic candidates that they could have had, but Harris is probably the weakest candidate they could have run. So we're going to go with Harris. Kamala Harris wasn't supposed to be here. In fact, her candidacy, it was dreaded, cited by many as the single strongest argument for Biden's candidacy in 2024. Yet Biden's dismal debate performance was the subsequent Democratic panic sank his polling numbers, leading to his withdrawal under fire in late July. Harris's candidacy has breathed life into a party once resigned to defeat. But that only solves half of the problem. She needs to find her footing, define herself to the public, largely unfamiliar with her, and run a strong campaign all within 100 days if she wants to rally her party and dispatch Donald Trump for the second and hopefully last time. Let's hope we can do that. So our running mate. So I'm probably going to go with Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz is a very strong running mate, but they just didn't utilize him enough. But let's see who else we have. So we have Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. We have Andy Beshear from Kentucky. We're not going to win Kentucky. So Andy Beshear, I would assume he's like more of a moderate. We have Mark Kelly from Arizona, another swing state. I want to go with Tim Walz. I just feel like he's going to be the strongest one by far. So Tim Walz boasts 6 House terms representing rural Minnesota and 6 more years as governor, wielding a Democratic trifecta to pursue a boldly progressive agenda. His humble background as a preschool teacher and a U.S. Army soldier give him an attractive biography, especially compared to the disastrous J.D. Vance. It is worth noting that some progressives may take issue with Walz's support for the Minneapolis Police Department and his quick activation of the National Guard during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. Also, Minnesota is already expected to go to Harris this year, although Walz could be helpful in neighboring Wisconsin. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Within days of Biden's withdrawal, you have consolidated virtually all Democratic support and racked up enough pledged delegates to become the presumptive nominee. Polls indicate a surge in your favorabilities, and you've rapidly moved within striking distance of Trump. What kind of theme do you want your campaign to take on? So we need to get away from Biden. We have to. It is imperative. We need to make sure the Republicans don't set the narrative, and I need to ramp it up in Pennsylvania. Absolutely. Okay? That is my strategy for this. The odds that we keep the Senate are low, so let's be careful about making promises we can't keep. Okay, that's going to make us look tremendously weak. I don't want to look weak because people already don't like the Democratic Party, so we need to kind of instill, hey, go with the system. It's going to get good. We can't rush this. If we come out of the gate quickly, we're going to look like opportunists waiting in the wings to push Biden out of the way. Let's hang back and consolidate party support and gradually move towards an active campaign. The thing is, we only got 100 days. It's going to be really fast. Everyone already knows what Trump stands for, but they don't know what I stand for. Let's publish a comprehensive agenda dedicated to protecting our freedoms, creating jobs, and building a fair economy for all Americans. That's pretty good because one of the big critiques of the Harris campaign is that people just didn't really get to know much about her. People didn't really know her policies. And in the age of social media, in the age of the internet, people aren't watching TV. So rallies don't really get out there that much. So people rely on online for just everything. So we got to kind of just somehow get out there. January 6th is the 400-pound gorilla in the room. Donald Trump is an essential threat to our republic. He fosters hate and division from all the halls of Capitol streets of Charlottesville. Okay. So the thing with January 6th, they hammered on that a lot. They hammered on abortion a lot. And ultimately, it didn't really do anything. So we just got to be positive. We got to go on the attack. And we got to just explain who we are. Very Warren-like of you. Well-trained observers know that the odds of a Democratic trifecta are slim. But that's the problem for after the election. Your agenda soon becomes a calling card for your supporters nationwide. Okay. Your announcement of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for vice president has gone over well, especially with progressive Democrats. However, some Republicans, particularly J.D. Vance, have accused him of stolen valor and dodging a deployment during his retirement from the National Guard. Do you think these accusations are credible? They did the same thing to John Kerry in 2004. They swift-boated him. They're trying to exaggerate these technicalities into a serious scandal, and nobody's buying it. I stand by Tim 100%, and I'm excited to hit the campaign trail with him. Well, that's pretty good. We gotta be firm. We gotta be strong. You know what's I find funny? Trump and the Republicans bashed the Iraq war so much, and now they're attacking Tim for supposedly avoiding a deployment to Iraq. I mean, it's not even true, but you can't have it both ways. Let's talk about the facts. Tim retired to prevent a conflict of interest with his House campaign as per the Hatch Act, and his unit had not been notified of their deployment. His rank was reverted administratively after his retirement for benefit purposes. This is serious business. If it gains traction, it will pose a slight problem for us. Let's be proactive and have Tim lie low. No, we're not going to do that. So we'll go with the first one. Then again, do I really want to bring up John Kerry? That could be bad, actually. Maybe we'll just go with the facts on that one. This was never a serious scandal, but it can't hurt to clear the air. Walz has proven a decent pick, especially compared to the problem that J.D. Vance has become for the Trump campaign. Just keep in mind that some of your focus groups are indicating that male voters generally still aren't impressed with your campaign. That is one demographic we had to try and get is young male voters. They are becoming more conservative. All right, and here's the map. So Michigan's going to be contentious for us, 100%. There's a higher Muslim population in Michigan, and with Biden's support of Israel, Michigan could be bad. So Nevada's close. Georgia is within distance. Yeah. We're going to run it up in Pennsylvania. That's what we have to do. Many Arab Americans and pro-Palestine activists have expressed frustration that the ongoing Democratic National Convention does not have a Palestine-American speaker scheduled, despite allowing the parent of an American held captive by Hamas to speak. Do you feel strongly about intervening and resolving this? Okay, so we gotta appeal to these voters. We just have to. We're not making altercations, or I'm sure we could find a place to slip in a 2-minute slot for a Palestine American speaker somewhere. Okay, we have to do this. Your people end up having to rearrange a couple of the speaking slots to make this fit, but it works out in the end. It's not much, but it means the world to some people to be represented like that in the convention hall. The last time a Democratic National Convention was held in Chicago, the last time a president dropped out in favor of his vice president, absolutely nothing went right. Today, though, it's clear that's not the case. Instead, the convention is cheering for you. You've brought the energy back. You've brought the joy back. With this in mind, how will you close this convention? Donald Trump wants to return America where organized labor is gutted, civil rights for women and people of color are non-existent. I kind of want to get away from, identity politics. But we'll see. And the American economy is primarily an engine for the enrichment of himself and the 1%. We've got one message for him. We are not going back. I don't know. As Commander-in-Chief, I will ensure America has the strongest and most lethal fighting force in the world. I will not hesitate to take action to defend interests against tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un, who are rooting for Trump because they know how he is easy to manipulate with flattery and favors. There's so much more that unites us than divides us, no matter our color, creed. That's just not going to work. We have made so much progress together over the past 4 years, and that's not going to work either. So we're going to have to probably go with we're not going back, because saying that things are amazing is just not going to work, and just more identity politics. So we're going to have to go, tepidly with this one. There is nothing wrong with going after an easy target like Trump. but be sure to balance out your array of attacks with an equally substantive plan for America's future. All right. So this is looking pretty good. We're winning just barely. 6 electoral votes. So, yeah. We just got to keep running it up in Pennsylvania. Trump is winning Pennsylvania. What? Rumors are abound that RFK Jr. may drop out of the race and endorse Donald Trump. However, your campaign tells you that he's offering to endorse you instead if you negotiate with him. Pundits are unsure who this will help more, you or Trump. How will you respond? Oh, RFK. So controversial. On one hand, the Democratic base absolutely despises him because of his anti-vaccine rhetoric. On the other hand, it's pretty obvious, I think, that he sucks away votes from the center more than anything. So he doesn't really have that much of an effect on the race. So I think it would be okay to kind of cast him off to the side. I'm not offering him a thing, but regardless of who he endorses, Kennedy dropping out provides us an opportunity to stop bleeding with these working class types in the Midwest. We should hone in our commitment to a comprehensive immigration security. Kennedy's coalition is broad but lacks focus. We'll focus on pulling back some of those Democratic-leaning voters, especially disaffected younger ones. That could be helpful, but we're not making a deal with this lunatic conspiracy theorist. I mean, we need those younger voters. Like, we absolutely need that. And that's going to be a growing demographical problem for Democrats in the future, that they just can't get, especially those younger men. Like, in the Obama years, they would be going for Obama, like, a 70-30 margin. Now it's more so like honestly, like a 50-50, or they're more so in favor of the Republicans. Actually, they're in favor of a lot of the Republicans. What am I saying? They're more like 55-45 for Trump, or it could be even growing more. Like I would say for young white men, it's probably like 60-40. For Latinos and black men, the margin's a lot closer, but yeah, it's growing. Kennedy's a nut. A deal with him is absolutely off the table. So yeah, if we make a deal with Kennedy, our base is absolutely gonna hate it, and we need to motivate our base. So we're gonna go with number 2. This is a solid course of action in case Kennedy announces his endorsement of Donald Trump shortly after his withdrawal. Oh my God. Earlier this year, negotiations for a bipartisan Sinema-Langford immigration bill collapsed after Donald Trump loudly and publicly opposed it. Since then, the border issue has only grown in salience. Where do you stand on this issue? It is important to have order at our southern border, but we must also remember that no human is illegal. We will bring justice, dignity, and fairness to documented and undocumented immigrants through comprehensive immigration reform. The thing is that Democrats are known to be really weak on the border. So I really don't think any of these answers are probably going to help us. The modern-day Republican Party is so much of a cult that they killed a border bill supported by some of the most conservative Republicans in Congress because Trump instructed them to do so. They scorn dissent and free thought. We embrace it. Actually, this answer could help. We had a bipartisan deal that would have secured our border. Donald Trump sank that bill because he wanted to be able to run on border security as a political issue. I promise you that when I'm elected, I will bring back that bill and sign it into law. This is one big flaw with Harris's campaign. You're in the current administration. Couldn't you put some policies forth during the election and actually have them signed into law? Get Biden to do some things for you? Just saying. As Attorney General of a border state, I took the attack to international cartels trafficking drugs and people into this country illegally. I know what it's like to walk the walk and keep Americans safe. All Donald Trump knows is how to play politics. So we're going to go with number 2. It's a firm answer, but I think it will really solidify just our case to Americans. You're pretty clearly dodging the border issue and instead using this as an opportunity to attack Republicans as spineless hypocrites. What? That is not at all what I'm doing. Depending on the message you want to send, this could be a good strategy. What are you talking about? It seemed to help us, though, quite a bit. Okay. Sometimes the media is just ridiculous in these things. So we have a 5-point lead in Pennsylvania, so that looks pretty solid. An electoral vote, still at 276, so Michigan's 2 points. I don't want to get too cocky because obviously the steam of my campaign is going to run out, and it's going to run out pretty fast. So I don't even think it's really worth it to go to Georgia. We need to just keep running it up in Pennsylvania and Michigan. Michigan, I have fears about. President Biden has sent you word that he intends to block the proposed $14.9 billion takeover of U.S. Steel by Japanese firm Nippon Steel, citing security risks in having American steel production controlled by foreign entities. What public position will you take on this? Okay, so we got to get away from Biden. We have to. We need to go against him because, again, one of the biggest flaws is that Harris wasn't differentiating herself from Biden. So let's see what we got. Am I crazy here? If we're actually worried about maintaining steel supply here in the United States, the real solution is not to block this deal, but instead use the CFIUS hammer to ensure that Nippon Steel makes and maintains such investments. I'm inclined to oppose such a deal, but I could be persuaded if Nippon Steel established a commitment to ensuring American oversight of U.S. steel production and investing in domestic U.S. steel facilities. This is obviously a Pennsylvania question. I will always have the backs of American steelworkers. U.S. Steel is a truly historic American company and is vital for our country to maintain domestic steel production. U.S. Steel should remain American-owned and American-operated. Nippon Steel has made a laundry list of promises to ensure that this merger doesn't adversely affect domestic steel production, and this type of move would only help us to put up a unified front against China, who controls 54% of the global steel market. Japan's a pretty big ally, and we got to kind of set firm in stone that, hey, I am not Joe Biden. So I think we're going to go with this answer. This comment detonates like a bomb. Oh, God. Oh, no. Biden is shocked that you've publicly aligned against his position, and Trump floods the airways with attack ads claiming that you want to sell out American workers. What? Oh, God. Oh, God. Pennsylvania is seized up, and he's taking the lead in Michigan. What have I done? Oh, no. How much do you wish to talk about democracy as an issue during this campaign? The thing is, the Democrats really tried to hammer away on January 6th. It didn't really do anything. Everyone knows about January 6th. It would be best if we instead focused on economic issues and securing our border. Donald Trump was there on January 6th. He knows what happened. He has shown that beyond any doubt, he cannot be trusted with our democratic experiment. We'll use the topic to make a direct appeal to moderate Republicans, the Bush chain types. Hell no! Get out of here! We should talk about Trump's behavior after 2020. Okay, we'll just focus on the real issues at hand. This confuses your advisors. But hey, we're looking solid now. My advisors have no idea what they're doing. It seems pretty obvious. So back to Pennsylvania it is. Recently, the Georgia Supreme Court struck down the state's 6-week abortion ban, ruling that it violated the Georgia Constitution. Abortion has been a salient political issue since the 2022 Dobbs decision overturning Roe v. Wade, and has been credited with single-handedly halting Republican momentum in 2022. How do you plan to support abortion rights as you campaign? It didn't really affect the 2020 election that much. So with a Republican Senate as the most likeliest outcome, we should also focus on how states can take action on this issue and put up referendums too. That's kind of a weak answer. We absolutely support the right to choose, but it's a pretty touchy issue, and we should probably stay focused on the issues of 2024, the economy, trade, strength abroad, instead of relitigating the issues of 2022. Those should be the main focus. I agree. The rights of women all over America are under attack. If elected, Donald Trump and his GOP cronies would pass a national abortion ban, no matter what they say to the contrary. I would pass federal law codifying Roe, protecting the right to choose for all Americans. Of course, I mean, if the Republicans didn't kick up a hornet's nest with his attack on women, we'd probably have Dr. Oz in the Senate right now. Oh, John Fetterman, that guy. We're going to be emphasizing on women's right to choose very much during this campaign. The fact of the matter is that it didn't change things. Everybody knows that the Democrats are in favor of abortion. So saying it over and over and over again and kind of wasting time on that really isn't going to help anybody. So I think we're going to focus on the economy. Abortion is a relevant issue in which you have a lopsided advantage. Why would you shift the focus to relative weak points? Weak points! The economy a weak point. Okay. The two campaigns have reached an impasse regarding the upcoming presidential debate. You have insisted on leaving the microphones on the entire night, while Trump wants to keep all of the current rules, including turning a candidate's microphone off when it is not their turn to speak. With the debate around the corner, will you cave or stand by your demands? Donald Trump has threatened to skip the debate if we do not accede to his demands. We would have preferred to leave the microphones on the entire time, but we have agreed to attend regardless. And I see that these other ones are not attending, and I see that this is a chance question. We have to attend regardless. I mean, come on, man. Like, what? So people are kind of divided on how that debate went. I will say I think Trump probably, had a stronger performance than Democrats would like to admit. So we need a very, very strong, overwhelming victory. Okay, we cannot be vague, because that's my main takeaway from that debate, that Harris was just too vague. So we need a good debate. So we'll go with the bottom one. I gotta hope that we win this debate. You quickly find your groove and begin debate Trump. After a particularly sharp needling on his crowd sizes, he loses his cool, nearly yelling into the microphone over you and the moderators. Most viewers agree you won, and humiliated Trump withdraws from the debates. Yes! Is it just me, or are these states look less solid, though? Yeah, even though it says I won the debate, it seems like it's seizing up. So obviously the steam of Harris is kind of already going. So we're only up 1 point now in Pennsylvania. So yeah, things are starting to happen. We're not even halfway through this yet. Your schedulers are hard at work planning the next series of campaign rallies. With Biden out of the race, there's an aura of joy and excitement within the Democratic Party. Some even feel as if the map has expanded. Where would you like to head over the next week? We can go to Georgia. I don't think we're getting Georgia realistically. Biden getting Georgia was a little bit of a fluke. I'm going to admit that. If it wasn't for COVID, I think that Trump probably would have been reelected, and he probably would have won Georgia handily. So Pennsylvania, we got to get Pennsylvania. I have no other path if I lose Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is critical for both you and Trump's chances. Israel has just invaded southern Lebanon, a major escalation in the Israel-Hezbollah conflict, itself an offshoot of the war in Gaza. Iran immediately retaliated by firing a volley of missiles into Israel, and the White House is supportive of Israel's action. Where do you stand? This is a pivotal moment. We have to not support Israel, because the Democratic base is not supportive of Israel. I need to make sure I have my base in line. So here we go. We have to reach a ceasefire. We've got to de-escalate, period. But at the same time, Israel is a valuable ally of the United States. So no. I absolutely unequivocally oppose this invasion. My number one foreign policy goal as president will bring peace to the Middle East via a negotiated end to the war that respects the dignity and securities of Israelis and Arabs alike. This is a promise I stand by 100%. Okay. If Hezbollah wanted peace in the Middle East, maybe they shouldn't have launched a rocket attack on Israel the day after the October 7th massacre. So we're going to go with the middle option. Okay. Some are comparing your new position to Hubert Humphrey's call for a bombing halt in 1968. Arab American community leaders are quick to praise your decision in the critical swing state of Michigan, and you earn a rare bout of mostly positive press coverage. Okay. It's looking good. Back to Pennsylvania it is. Oh God, here we go. What is this? As September becomes October, the nation is looking straight down the barrel of a multitude of crises. Dock workers are preparing to strike all along the East Coast. A massive hurricane is hours from landfall in Florida, and the Middle East teeters on the brink of regional war. Will Tim Walz attend the vice presidential debate against J.D. Vance? He damn well is. Okay, so it's another chance question. Tim Walz is not good at debating. So we'll go with the middle option. Come on, Tim. Make us proud. Oh, God damn it. Unfortunately, Walz was a little awkward and nervous in front of the camera, and a restrained Vance outperformed expectations. However, the dock workers agreed to delay their strike until January, which is good news regardless. Damn it. No daylight kid. Joe doesn't have to elaborate for you to understand exactly what he means. It was supposed to be a pre-debate prep doc, but it comes off more as a threat than anything else. And Biden world is backing him up. You have to make a decision. It might be a defining decision of your campaign. We are getting away from Biden. I cannot have Joe Biden messing me up. Voters are angry. We need to break with him. It's a matter of political survival. If we run on more of the same climate, we're good as dead. It's not about Joe as much as it is about the people. We receive so much help from them getting this thing off the ground, and we can't afford to lose them now. I've stood by Joe from the very beginning, and I will proudly stand by him today. Well, that's just to throw the election, so we're going to go with this one. Biden is angry, and you can tell that his people are giving you the cold shoulder. The impact of your break with Biden in the internal polls and focus groups, though, is staggering and almost uninformingly positive. But it hasn't really changed things, and now I'm losing Pennsylvania. So which means I'm probably losing the election now. Oh, what? I'm still winning? Okay. Yeah. We still got to ramp it up here. Georgia is seizing up a little bit, but I really don't see ourselves winning Georgia. So back to Pennsylvania it is. The South has been ravaged by major hurricanes, Helen and Milton, leaving hundreds of dead and millions without power due to severe wind, rain, and flooding. Beyond the obligatory visit to the relief effort in disaster-affected areas, how will you respond? We're hard at work providing relief to the areas affected by these hurricanes, but I'd like to take a moment to call out my opponent for politicizing these tragedies. As Americans suffer, he goes around blaming immigrants for stealing FEMA money. We deserve better than that from our president. It's rich how Trump is accusing this administration of botching the response. Do you want to know why FEMA is so underfunded, Donald? It's because of your lackeys in Congress, many of whom represent the very districts impacted by these hurricanes push for budget cuts. But you are the same administration, so that's not going to work. Our administration is taking immediate action to ensure that the people affected by these hurricanes have as much access to supply. Okay, I see. Oh, have you noticed how common these once-in-a-lifetime hurricanes are becoming? The culprit is climate change. Warmer waters are key in the formation of hurricanes. My administration will invest in a green future to cool off our oceans, thwarting the development of these superstorms. You want? Let's go with this one. Let's hammer him. Some accuse you of politicizing a tragedy, but the logic behind your point is entirely sound, and it never hurts to get voters thinking positively about the future. You're making a guest appearance on ABC News, The View. Harris and The View, man. Like, that's where she made the most amount of appearances. When co-host Sunny Hoskin asked you, would you have done anything differently than President Biden over the past 4 years? What's your answer? This is another pivotal question. So infamously, Harris said, I wouldn't have done anything differently. Which I think cost her the election. I think that was probably a defining moment, actually. So I'm proud of my work with President Biden, but we could have done more. Or my approach to the Israel-Hamas conflict would have been different to his. I think we need to act with much more strength in ending this war. We can't credibly claim to stand for peace when we turn around and supply Netanyahu with weapons unconditionally. This is the answer. Well, I think it was a mistake for President Biden not to put a Republican in his cabinet. Come on, Kamala. Get away from Liz Cheney. Get out of here. There's nothing that specifically comes to mind. Okay. Many on the progressive left are impressed by your willingness to criticize Biden over his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. But some of your advisors think you could have appealed to more people by talking about kitchen table economic issues. Okay, so nothing is really shifting at all. Michigan looks pretty solid. Okay, so Pennsylvania is obviously the main priority. I don't want to lose any states, so I don't want to fumble this. You are sitting down for your first 60 Minutes interview as the Democratic nominee for president when host Bill Whitaker asks you the following question. Which country do you consider our greatest foreign adversary? Okay. I don't want to pigeonhole myself here by saying something that could tie my hands during my presidency. There are a number of countries aligned against us, but you can't rest assured that we're watching them very closely and that we will never hesitate to defend American interests. I think they want us to be specific. I think they want us to name a country and not dance around this question. So we have Iran, which I don't think is going to work. We have Russia, which it's pretty obvious now because with the Ukraine war. Now, Democrats were pretty bad for fear-mongering about Russia in 2016, and it kind of hurt them. Now I think it can kind of help us a little bit in this situation. Russia is our greatest adversary right now. They believe, in honor C, of course, that they still have great power and that they have been subjugated by the West for decades. In their view, this justifies violent territorial expansion, and Ukraine was just the start of that. It's kind of true, but kind of not true at the same time, because when Finland joined NATO, that is kind of like a checkmate that, yeah, you guys aren't going to get much more. China subjects us to ruthless economic warfare. China really isn't on the minds of people, at least at this point, I think. So Russia, really, I think it does have quite a bit of weight to it. This explanation of the Ukraine invasion is a little simplified, totally ignoring the state and individuals' levels of analysis, but it should do the trick. You're reaching out to viewers at home, not a seminar of IR scholars. Recently, prominent Republicans, including Trump, Vance, and Senator Ted Cruz, have begun to promote discredited rumors that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, have been abducting and eating pet cats and dogs of Native residents. Is there anything you need to say about these bizarre claims? They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, and as much as people laughed at that, it kind of worked. Yeah. We gotta, just tell the truth on this, but this is kind of a gotcha question. So maybe I can mention it one or two times in passing when calling out some of the crazier things Trump has said, but I really want to avoid giving this racist bile the light of day. I think we just need to kind of get away from this kind of weird type of politics. These claims come from the darkest corners of right-wing media circles, and that is exactly where they belong while Trump spends his time. Because you have to keep in mind that, at this point in America, people are kind of against immigration. So it's like, it doesn't hurt so much to mention it, but we don't want to kind of center our campaign around this. So, immigrants are kidnapping and eating cats and dogs is definitely up there with windmills cause cancer, just as just inject bleach to cure COVID. It's one of the strangest things Trump has ever said. All right, so Arizona is shifting, but also Nevada is shifting, which is not good. I can afford to lose Nevada, but I'd rather not lose Nevada, so we'll go there. Recently, your lead in polling has begun to wane, and your internals are showing worrying slippage with male voters, especially Black and Latino men. Your advisors have proposed litany of ideas to remedy this, including restating your support for legalizing marijuana, coming out with a plank of policy proposals specifically targeted to benefit Black and Latino men, and even maybe an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast. What do you think of these ideas? So one interesting tidbit is that they interviewed a bunch of younger men in the exit polls, and they said, like, hey, her not going on Joe Rogan was actually very, influenced their vote. So we got to go on the Joe Rogan experience. It's a massive platform, and people are more online than ever. The fact of the matter is, people don't watch TV anymore. People get all their content from the internet. And when a candidate holds their rallies, they don't really get that much attention, unless if it's like in the local area. Trump supporters or moderates are not going to search up a Harris rally. They're just not. You're only going to watch a Harris rally if you look for it. Young people don't watch CNN, they don't watch Fox News, they don't watch MSNBC, but they do watch the Joe Rogan experience. So we have to go on there. We have to. Oh, wait. This is an interesting strategy, and it may never hurt to try out a variety of solutions on this front. Unfortunately, Rogan snubs you, declining your request and meeting with Trump instead. I mean, at least we tried. Now, would he have actually snubbed Harris? I don't actually think so. I've never watched Joe Rogan before, but whatever. As expected, there are multiple third-party bids on the left that seek to siphon votes from your campaign. The Green Party has nominated Jill Stein yet again, while independent candidate Cornel West and PSL nominee Claudia De La Cruz are also on many ballots. Is there anything you have to say about these campaigns? No, these long shot bids shouldn't be given any attention. One thing I've learned from this game, don't target third parties. It's considered low-hanging fruit, so we'll just go with that. Jill Stein has no chance of winning, or we need to think strategically. So this is a standard strategy of the most successful campaigns. West's campaign is in debt, although do keep in mind that Stein seems to be pulling very well with Muslim voters. Not well enough, though. Georgia is within distance. Can we try to get Georgia? I'll go there once. Yet another example of Trump's rhetoric has made it to the press. An article by The Atlantic has reported that Trump asked John Kelly why he couldn't be more like German generals during a meeting in 2020. This has brought up a recurring theme of Trump's rhetoric being described as fascist and authoritarian. How would you like to tie this into your closing message? Okay. It is important that we don't lose sight of the fact that Trump is bought and paid for by the 1%. People like Elon Musk. His asinine comments are bad enough, but his regressive, unfair economic plans are far worse. Okay, that's pretty good. Here's an idea. Liz and Dick Cheney endorsed me back in September. I don't want to campaign with the Cheneys. That will throw the election. From my own personal standpoint, I lost a lot of respect. I didn't even have respect for Kamala Harris, but when she campaigned with Cheney, I'm just like, yep, that's pretty bad. And I'm just like, well, she's kind of throwing. This election is a choice between freedom and chaos. If Trump wins, it will be even more chaotic than the last time. And he's made it very clear on the campaign trail. Or we need to focus on winning over moderate public. Okay, so we're going to go with the first option. This message goes well with test groups. Hopefully America at large is just as receptive to it, no matter how unorthodox, although nobody can deny that these are unorthodox times. Elon Musk had made it his personal mission to ensure that Donald Trump is elected in November, whatever financial cost is incurred. Musk's America PAC has spent over $100 million, mainly on lotteries for referring swing state voters and ground game canvassing. While there has been some missteps, Musk's big money seems to be having considerable effect in the polls. What is your counteract to this? Honestly, what I would like to do is make a constitutional amendment to get money out of politics, but obviously that's kind of, it'd be pretty good. Is that an answer? Just fundraise off of it. What? Apparently, Philadelphia's district attorney is preparing a lawsuit file against Elon's PAC. Our best move is to wait and see what happens there. No. There's some bad stories coming out of this PAC, mistreatment of canvassers and poor management of data. It's total chaos, and it's what you should expect with 4 more years of Donald Trump. Or I can say, how is this even legal? He's basically buying votes in the swing states. Let's have someone file a lawsuit against Elon's PAC sooner rather than later. It's a long shot, but I think it's worth a try. So we'll do that. A few lawsuits are filed in Michigan and Arizona. 2 swing states, okay. One of the judges granted an order halting virtually all operations of Musk's PAC. Some damage is still done, but most of the bleeding is stemmed relatively quickly. Okay, so Georgia, thought it was possible, but no. And now we're losing. What? Well, losing Pennsylvania, but we're still at 276, but I don't like how close this is. This is really seizing up, so we're going to go to Pennsylvania. Okay. Cocky as ever, Donald Trump has chosen to hold a massive rally at Madison Square Garden. Now, my stance on this was completely wrong. I thought, that was a disaster. That really riled up his base. During the final days of the campaign, deep in the blue state of New York, however, controversy has risen as comments multiple speakers, among them includes Tony Hinchcliffe, made several racist jokes targeting Puerto Ricans, Palestinians, Jews, Latinos, and African Americans. Trump has been looking to make his coalition as diverse as ever this year, so hopefully this is a good opportunity to undercut that. How will you do that? The thing is, I don't want to be perceived as going for identity politics. That's the thing. This is just another example of Donald Trump's rhetoric getting darker, more fascistic, and even more racist. Many of Trump's former advisors have begun to come up with stories about his authoritarian tendencies. Leaders are judged by the company that they keep. I don't think there's much we can do here besides denouncing it whenever asked for comment. Make sure everyone in the party knows it. We should just let the press do their thing and hope this story lasts to Election Day. Or let's take a different angle. All this bro vote stuff is gross, so that's not going to work. I don't want to berate any of the voters. Soon, Puerto Rican celebrities such as Bad Bunny and Ricky Martin announced their support for you, and Trump rushes to do damage control. Staying silent definitely seems to have been the best move. Okay. You took stage directly in front of the White House, the same venue from which Donald Trump incited the Capitol attack 4 long years ago. Before you stands a sea of nearly 80,000 people, the overflow crowd extending past the Washington Monument. You're here to deliver the closing message of your campaign. What do you tell them? The patriots at Normandy, Selma, Seneca Falls, and Stonewall did not sacrifice only to see us cede our freedoms and submit to the will of another petty tyrant. This is very philosophical. Maybe not. We have accomplished so much over the past 4 years, but there's so much more to do. I have an agenda to... Okay, I like that there's so much more to do. Or, I am here tonight to warn you about what could come with the election of Donald Trump. He has promised to use the military to support 20 million people, and that's the thing. People are very anti-immigration. So, None of these answers are very good. I'll be honest. I'll go with the middle one. It's, kind of cheap saying like the past 4 years, but saying there's so much more to do. Create some type of hope, and there's a good policy in here. She also says, secure our border, protect freedoms, expand access to healthcare, defend our democracy. So let's go with that one. Overall, your speech is well received, and the crowd size crushes your previous record of 30,000 with Beyonce in Houston last Friday. Why are we in Houston? Michigan. Damn, this is razor thin. Razor thin. So, how it stands right now, we're just going to barely win. So we're going to go to Pennsylvania one last time. Tomorrow is the final day of the rally. These few final months have felt like ages. America is on edge, and the world is almost at a standstill as they wait for the votes to be counted. The only question is where you head to. We have to go to Pennsylvania. We have to go to Pennsylvania. Okay. I don't know how many times I went to Pennsylvania in this video, but we have to go to Pennsylvania. You hold a huge rally outside Philadelphia, the supercharged turnout in the Philadelphia suburbs. The next day, you return to your alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C. Best of luck, Madam Vice President. I am pretty nervous for this one. Man. Let's see how this goes. This is pretty nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie. This could be our closest election, or we could just barely lose this thing. Nevada looked like it was slipping, and Michigan looked like it was slipping. I poured so many resources into Pennsylvania. If we hold on to Pennsylvania, keep Wisconsin, then we got this. So, this is going to be insanely close. So, all these states are pretty much expected. So, no surprises yet. If we lose Pennsylvania, this thing is over. Now, I got to keep in mind, I wasn't keeping an eye on Wisconsin either. So, we lost Georgia. So, that's Georgia, North Carolina. Those are the first two swing states that went to Trump. So, this is going to be close. It's going to be really close. So, come on. I put a lot of work into Pennsylvania. So, I want to carry that state. Okay. Come on. I wonder how differently it would have gone with Shapiro. Would Pennsylvania be a shoo-in? I don't know. All right, so it's coming down to the swing states right now. So these 4 states are going to decide the entire thing. Nevada went, so we got to hold on. Okay, we got Wisconsin. We got to hold on, guys. Oh, my God. I think Michigan might seal it up for Trump, though. These are must-wins for us. And we lost. Oh, my God. Damn. Sorry you lost the election this time. Click OK to view the rest of the returns, or skip straight to the final results. We hope you have a nice concession speech prepared. Oh, gosh, golly. I couldn't do it, guys. Oh, no. We won Pennsylvania. Get out of here. Are you kidding me? Oh, my freaking God. You gotta be kidding. We lost by 1 state. Really? Really? Come on, man. 0.3%. So we were so close. So close. Nevada, almost 2 points in Nevada. I can't math. It was like 1 point. But anyway, Georgia was like 5 points. So let's go to the final results. Come on, really? Sorry you lost the election. When Democrats rallied behind you, you were expecting to bring it back. You did not. Honestly, I don't know where I went wrong in this one. I really don't. Like, I differentiated myself from Biden. I might have made one little misstep with this steel question, but then again, Michigan doesn't have steel. I really don't know. But anyway, results by state. Let's see how close it was. closest state, and it was about 15,000 votes. So pretty close. Next one, Pennsylvania. I put in so much work in Pennsylvania. I should have tried to run it up a little bit more in Michigan. I think maybe I should have been even towards Pennsylvania and Michigan. But yeah, pretty interesting, very good mod. And it was very fun to try this out. Definitely. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. It's a good time. And here is the election map. One state away, guys. Just one state. But hey, more videos coming soon.